Good evening. I'd like to call the village board meeting for the Village of Cary for Tuesday, December 17, 2019 to order with roll call, please.
Betts?
Here.
Weinhammer?
Here.
Collier?
Here.
Kraus?
Here.
McAlpine?
Here.
Cabelli?
She's here. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to allow trustee Kim Cabelli to attend via telephone due to health reasons.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Weinhammer?
Yes.
Kraus?
Yes.
McAlpine?
Yes.
Collier?
Yes.
Betts?
Yes.
Cabelli?
She's here. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move to the open forum where the public is invited to make an issue-oriented comment on any matter of public concern not otherwise on the agenda. I have one person sign in. Happy?
Is the microphone on? Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's good. I'll try to, do you want me to sing into this one for you too? Happy holidays, everybody. Appreciate you having me. I know how these things go, especially after the last meeting, so I'll try to get to the point and quickly so I don't keep you too long. Hope everybody's having a good season. You have some time to spend with your families and relax a little bit. So I'm here today really with just some food for thought. In the first couple of years, or not quite 2 years here that we've been here, I think we've accomplished quite a lot. We took a side of the street that was pretty much vacant and will probably still be vacant. And I think we've added some life to that side of the road and some energy and brought some culture as well between different charity events that we've run, concert in the park that we ran. We've done quite a bit, actually. And now with Rock and Chop, just the ability to be able to come somewhere in our neighborhood as a resident as well and actually see some of the things that you can see there is, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but you just can't even go to the city of Chicago and see some of the artwork and the posters and the signatures and that kind of stuff. There's just nothing like it. So it just happened to be something I was interested in, and I'm glad I could bring it to town. So I'll never forget, you know, when I first moved out here, to be honest with you guys, I wasn't really even looking to open anything. I really wasn't. Looked at a space, I was looking for a place to live, love the community. I've got 4 kids, 2 older, 2 younger. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I like it here. I really do. I'd spent some time up here and met with Brian and John, and they've been absolutely fantastic through and through. And I'm not just saying it to say it. They're really easy to work with, very straightforward. Mark as well. I got the information I needed and press forward. So bringing up discussion or topic for today, when I first moved here, you know, people had slot machines, that kind of thing, and I really at that time just wanted to get the businesses established and known for what they are, which is exactly what they are and growing into. And I knew down the road there might be something I'd be interested in, and obviously I am. It's a revenue stream. But I also, in looking at how the guidelines are written, I think it's something that should be really considered about the details of those guidelines. We are looking, and I approached Brian back in November, and kindly enough, Mark sent me a letter. He said he kind of, I don't know how he previewed with some of you guys to see if there might be something that would be doable or not. And I met again with Brian and Mark just to see, you know, where everybody's heads were at, and I understand why the verbiage is the way it is. But I think there are some things to consider here. If you really want to look at that business and stay away from the quote-unquote, what are they? They're like the sandwich. There's a word for it, but anyway, where people basically come in, have lunch, and do their thing, and they're not really set up for lunch. They're there for gambling. I think the easiest way in my mind is to look at the whole business and say, okay, anybody that has these, the slot machine should not represent more than 25 or 30% or whatever that percentage is of their total volume and total for the year. And that would certainly keep anybody away from opening up and trying to do something like that, where the numbers that they get from those machines actually exceeds 50 or 60 or 70% of what their total revenue is. We're now established with 2 businesses. I don't want 5 machines. I'm looking for 2 machines. I'm not open during the day, and I don't plan on opening during the day. I don't think you guys need this, right?
We do, we're being recorded.
Okay, sir. So, give me a second, that's better. So anyway, we're really not that type of gaming cafe, which is the words I was looking for. We never will be, have no intention to be, and our hours don't denote that. We have not only full-blown, you know, we have a bar service there. We have full-blown retail, full-blown services, and with Rock and Chop, we're full-blown family. So my intentions are not to have anything over there with it. I just was wanting to have the 2 machines at Happy's. Now, the big part of it for me is this. First couple years in business, you establish yourself, you figure out kind of who you are, where you're going. And I feel like everybody else, especially on that side of the street, has that revenue coming in. Other people in town in that kind of world have that revenue coming in, and it covers overhead. So what I have to look at is this going to be an opportunity where I can have that revenue stream purely as a business form? It's an extra revenue stream. It's not going to hit 15 or 20% for us. It just won't. We're not that type of business. But it's still revenue. So I have to look at that and consider it and just kind of press forward with any opportunities that I might have, which is why I came here to address you guys today. You know, I think that it is definitely something to consider. I understand we don't have a full kitchen, but I do want to bring up this. We serve food in there every day. And instead of going the route, because we have options to go that route, instead of going the route of going into food, I partnered up with Romanesca's, which is another local business, and set up my own menu to the point that I was in the kitchen helping come up with the ideas for our menu. And now not only does he benefit, the community benefits, and we benefit. So we have, if anybody wants to see a menu, I have it here, can email it and you can take a look. But we're in that world. You know, you compare that to other gaming cafes, some of which just are set up as quote-unquote sandwiches. I got 2 sandwich coolers in the basement I don't even use, because I used to do that when I was in Barrington. It's a no-brainer. That's not where I want to go. I've established, as I just mentioned, something really good with Roman over at Romanesca's. People like it. If you haven't tried the Happy's Bones yet, which are the wings, you definitely got to do so, because now people call up there and ask for our wing style. But we definitely tried to follow through on the things that I think are necessary. You know, that being said, I've got the application. I don't want to waste anybody's time. I don't have any expectations. Mark was very clear when we met, and we had a really nice discussion with Mark and Brian. It is definitely something I want to pursue. So from the business side of it, what I have to consider now is, you know, we're dialed in through this year on our leases. I love it here and I want to be here. I've got to figure out on every level where things are going to fall, because just like anybody else that has a business, there's opportunities out there that we need to make sure we maximize. And I don't mean maximizing by having machines. I mean maximizing by having our concept of business. So that's really key for me. I've been in this a long time, and you know, I obviously will continue. I just need to make sure at 53 now, I know I look like 27, just kidding, but at 53, you know, every step I take has to be the right step to move in a good direction. So that was really it. I appreciate you guys having time. From here, I'll probably put in the application, see what happens, but at least you kind of know what my motivation is for that. So I appreciate you guys having an ear, and hope everybody has a great holiday. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to address the village board? We'll go ahead and close open forum at 6:09.
You guys did forget to tell me it was free M&M night. You know.
Gary, I remember being on the rest of the board.
Okay, moving forward to the, my mayor's report, we have an employee recognition. Scott Fish from our Public Works Department is being recognized for 5 years of employment. He is unable to be with us tonight, but we thank Scott for his dedication. Look forward to the next 5 years. One other thing I'll add to this is we had a very successful Mary Carey Parade 2 Sundays ago. It was great. We had full participation by the board. That was fun, and family members were included as well. It was a good time. We actually had a couple elves join us. I'm disappointed. Eric, I asked him special to wear his elf outfit, and there he comes in his little pinstripe suit. Okay, well, we'll talk about that later. Review time is coming up.
He's got a Christmas
It's
tie.
stripes.
He's talking, I can't see that far, yeah. That was good. It was a great event. Thousands of people enjoyed our downtown, and it's a great community event to get everybody together, and it was fun having staff there as well, although I didn't see Scott, but, you know, I didn't see
I
everyone.
was in the back.
You were in the back? The back 3,000, back 4,000? Okay. I'm not aware of any trustee reports, so I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items number 1 through 4 is shown on the village's website and is displayed on the video monitor during the village board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Weinhammer?
Yes.
Collier?
Yes.
Betts?
Yes.
McAlpine?
Yes.
Kraus?
Yes.
Cavelli?
Thank you. Moving on to items for separate action, I will entertain a motion to approve an ordinance authorizing the addition of a new growth of $6,502 resulting in an annual real estate tax levy for the tax year of 2019 in the amount of $2,532,192.
So moved.
Second.
Are you going to speak?
Not unless you want me to.
Okay. I do want to ask a question before
yeah,
we take
that's
a vote
why
on
he's
this.
up here,
Okay,
yep.
great. So I was told that in one of the past village board meetings that you had said that if we didn't agree to this, that taxes would go down for, not for businesses, but for residents. Is that correct?
If you did not approve increasing the levy by the $6,000 of new growth, the village's property tax rate would go down, and the amount of tax that current residents would pay would be slightly less than it is today.
But we were talking very minimal.
Very, very minimal. Very minimal. Our point in asking for the new growth is new businesses are coming into the community, and based on the level of services we provide, we're just basically asking everybody to pay their fair share of the village's taxes. So the impact on the residents of the community today by increasing by the amount of new growth would not impact their tax bill at all. Those new taxes from the new growth will be paid by the new businesses that are coming into the community. So for the most part, the tax rate for the community will remain the same as it was last year,
But it would go slightly down if,
if in fact we did not approve the new growth. Yes.
thank you.
I think we have to remember though too, when we had our actuary here earlier this year, I mean, we are going to have a $180,000 increase to the police pension fund that right now, I mean, we don't have a way to cover that. We're going to have to look at making cuts here in the budget process. The 6,000 is a small amount, but it is at least something to help cover that significant amount that we're going to have to work on during the budget process.
And I don't want people to forget, $6,000 does not seem like a large sum, but it's $6,000 every year going forward. So we'll add the $6,000 to our current base, and then next year when the levy comes up, it will include that new base, and any new growth from future years we can consider to pick up going forward.
Yeah, I think that, you know, I think everyone is very cognizant of the fact that, you know, in Illinois and in our county and in our town, you know, taxes are not inexpensive. We know that they are costly, and we certainly want to be very prudent stewards of the taxpayer money. But on something like this, again, I look at it as if we're not increasing. I mean, we've got our other, and I'm not looking to throw any of our other taxing bodies under the bus. They have to do what they have to do. But a lot of those other taxing bodies have increased significantly, and we're just kind of holding the line. But to not collect it, in my opinion, is something that can really hurt us long-term, because you don't get it in perpetuity. You can't come back and get it, collect it later. If you miss it, you miss it. And I look at the fact that we want new growth here. We want people to build here. We want people to move here. We want businesses to come here. So part of the advantage of that is being able to optimize and utilize some of that tax to offset some of our increases in expenses. We're non-home rule. We can't just increase the tax.
I think unfortunately, sometimes many residents look at their total tax bill.
Right.
They see how their total tax bill may increase from some of the other taxing bodies and do not realize that it is not the Village of Cary that's imposing that additional tax on them. I mean, from year to year, if they were to compare the amount of money that is paid or comes to the Village of Cary, you could go back the last 5 years and there would be relatively no change in the amount of money that's coming to the Village of Cary.
Right.
Yet we have the same inflationary increases that everybody else has. 75% of our total budget is probably related to wages and benefits, of which many of them are controlled by union contracts. So we have to have a means to be able to continue to pay those ongoing costs and continue to provide the same level of service that we've been providing in the past.
The police pension fund, though, the police pension levy, we don't have any control over that. That's increasing automatically.
Well-
Can you tell me how much that's going to increase this year?
The police pension levy by itself is going up $180,000.
But in terms of our tax bill, how much of an increase in the levy are we seeing in terms of like the numbers ticking up?
You
Do you
will,
understand what I'm saying?
We're contributing, that
that's
180, that comes
part
from
of
us.
our
That's part of our
total levy that's out there. So in essence, you're not seeing $180,000 of increase that's being passed on. We're taking that into account in the levy that's here.
Right, but when you look at your tax bill, you have the Village of Cary levy and then you have the pension levy.
No.
That pension levy, yeah, there's two lines.
There is. It's broken down.
It's broken down.
Oh, right.
It is broken down, but on overall basis, what I'm saying is the tax rate that's being paid to the Village of Cary is going to remain relatively flat.
So, but
Correct.
I think what Jeff is looking for, help me if I think I'm understanding you. He's saying, you know what, if we've got the tax levy of $2,532,000, we have to take $180,000 out of that we had to work in our general fund. We have to come up with a way to pay that extra $180,000. We can't just pass it on to the residents. We're not upping the pension portion. Right, is that what you're saying? Like,
in
where's that coming from?
essence-
Are we paying
Well,
it?
I thought
if
we
I-
were increasing the police pension
If I-
levy
We
if
are.
I could-
automatically, that we don't have any control over it.
Let me try and explain it a different way. On the first page of the ordinance that's in your packet, there is a breakdown that shows all of the different areas that $2,532,000 is covering.
Right.
The police pension line item, if you compared this year to what you approved last year, it went up by $180,000. But on the other hand, if you look at what the amount is that was levied for police protection, that number would have come down to compensate for the police pension line going up. So in essence, the levy that we adopted last year was $2,525,000 in total. The levy you're adopting this year is $2,532,000, and it is only increasing by the $6,502 of new growth. There is no other increase that is being passed on that is going to appear on somebody's tax bill. What I'm saying is, in total, the residents of this community should see absolutely no change to their tax bill unless they decided to add an addition to their house or something like that.
All
It's
of
just
these
your
dollars,
distribution.
all these dollars are going to the general fund.
Right.
Did you have any comments, or Dale?
No, I'm okay.
We have to remember, too, that, you know, in the last 10 years, the Village of Cary has been very diligent about keeping our tax levy flat. If you look at our expenses, that delta keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. and we continue to do more with less. We have whittled down our staffing to the point where we're efficient, but it could be stressful to the organization if we don't have enough money to continue to build on these things. We don't look for a lot of other increases in any of the things that we do when it comes to taxation. As I've mentioned before, I don't consider taking the new growth a tax increase. You look at the surrounding communities like Crystal Lake and Fox River Grove that are taking full like 3% tax increase, and that's a tax increase. You know, you look at the other taxing districts that we have with the school districts, they're all taking, I think District 26 is taking 3%. I believe District 155 is taking 2.75%. That's what they're taking on top of what they have right now. And those are hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars. So, you know, when you look at the $6,502 is de minimis in the big picture. You know, we'll be approving a police contract shortly. We'll be considering that with an increase of 3% the first 2 years and 4% the trailing years. We're continuing with our police pension. Our actuaries gave us a very daunting telling story not a few weeks ago about the additional $180,000. We have to start chipping away at that at some part. And this is not a burden to our taxpayers. And I believe, in my opinion, you could be proud of the fact that we continue to maintain our tax levy at a flat basis. That's my story. Anything else, Jake, anything? Trustee Cavelli, do you have any comments?
We've already talked about this extensively, so you know where I stand.
I know, yep, we know where you stand. Thank you. Well, I got to ask.
I appreciate that. The only thing I would say is, I recall a few years ago where the question was asked about the new tax growth, if it would affect current residents. And I thought Mike did make mention that it would affect them, although minimally it would affect them. But now it's my understanding, I'm being told it would not affect them, correct?
It would not impact them.
No.
Any new
Unless
growth,
they put it in expense their house, what I heard. It's kind of hard to hear on the speaker, but that, I did hear that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion or questions for staff?
I don't disagree with what you say, and I'm in favor of the new growth. I'm just trying to get some answers.
Sure.
no, I understand.
I mean,
And
I have some big concerns about our police pension. I mean, we spend more in pension costs than we do in everyday operating costs now. When you look at the tax bill, more goes to the pension than it's going to run in the village. And that's a big problem coming in the future. And so I hope the state moves forward with that consolidation bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
something that
agree.
we're working diligently with our legislators right now with that, and they're moving closer and closer towards consolidation.
I think there obviously could be an argument made here for, taking the full CPI. We understand, though, the board's desire to not increase the tax burden on our residents. That's why we recommend the new growth. It's a small bite of the apple. It still is a bite. And we do recommend that you proceed with the new growth.
Okay, any other comments, questions? Roll call, please.
McAlpine?
Yes.
Collier?
Yes.
Cavelli?
No,
Weinhammer?
No.
Betts?
Yes.
Kraus?
Yes.
I'm a yes too, by the way. Thank you very much, just for the record. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Moving
You can-
on, I will entertain a motion to approve the collective bargaining agreement between the village and the Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council, Fraternal Order of Police Lodge, number 231, and authorize the mayor and deputy village clerk to sign the agreement.
So moved.
Second.
I guess I'd ask if there's any questions, or I can go real quick over a very high-level review of the contract, if you wish.
And we have, for the public's benefit too, the village board has had numerous discussions about this in closed session. I do believe the board is fairly up to speed on where the contract is. As the police chief said, we'd be happy to go into details about the contract. We certainly believe it is a fair contract and appreciate the work, the FOP's bargaining team and the chief and labor attorney Kelly and DC Nadenoff put into this agreement.
Any questions? I think we've kind of talked about this. They hit the nail on the head. We asked them to move forward with these figures, and lo and behold, we are right where we need to be. So if there's no other questions or discussion by the village board, roll call, please.
Collier,
Yes.
Betts,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yes.
Weinhammer,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for the hard work on that, Pat.
We, excuse me, we will post that on our website too for any residents or interested public that are interested in seeing the contract.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to approve a resolution approving the amendments to the Village of Cary Employee Handbook.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor, Village Board, as a part of some recent changes in state law here, as you're aware, cannabis will now be legal for recreational consumption, effective January 1 of 2020. As a part of that, we asked our labor attorney and village staff had conducted a review of the employee handbook. We've got four, I would say, significant or more significant updates that we completed here, recommended by our labor attorney. We updated, for one, the village's equal opportunity employment policy. Number two, Veterans Day, that was added as a holiday to be consistent with the SEIU and the FOP contracts. Three, there were updates to our village's harassment policy. And number four was updates to our drug-free workplace to be consistent with the new cannabis laws. The rest of if you had an opportunity to go through the handbook, there are other changes that are included here. Many are grammatical clarification items too that were recommended by our labor attorney. So with that, we are recommending approval of these updates to the handbook.
Does anybody have any comments on these? It's always good we have a new labor attorney, and it's always wise to have another fresh set of eyes, take a look at things, make sure that we're in complete compliance, and we're factually up to date, keeping ourselves clean. All right, any other questions? Nothing? Roll call, please.
Cavelli,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Collier,
Yes.
Betts,
Yes.
Weinhammer,
Yes.
Thank you. And the final item for separate action, I will entertain a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the village administrator to execute a professional services agreement with FGM Architects, Oak Brook, Illinois, in the amount of $750,000 for architectural and engineering services associated with the police station, Village Hall, and authorize the village administrator to approve a 10% contingency for unexpected changes in scope for a total maximum project budget of $825,000.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We've gone over this quite a bit in various forums, and if anybody has any questions, now would be the time to ask. Eric's prepared. This is exactly, it's been budgeted, it's exactly what the board has unanimously approved before, just so everybody is aware of that.
What budget line is this coming out of?
This was budgeted in our building fund under professional services in that line item. And the amount negotiated is within the amount that we anticipated and budgeted for.
Yeah, this has been included in our budget and appropriated through our appropriation ordinance. I had one question earlier from a trustee too about if this was included in the overall budget amount when we saw those figures of, I think it was about $9.6 to $10.4 million for a total project cost. This is included in those.
Okay, no other questions? Roll call, please.
Betts,
Yes.
Weinhammer,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Collier,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Thank you. Exciting time for the Village of Cary. We look forward to this. Thanks for all your work on that, staff. Appreciate it. Administrators report?
And then two, Mayor, I just wanted to add one item related to that FGM contract. On page 2, I would encourage board members, if you haven't already, and when you have time, to review that schedule. It is a very aggressive and tight schedule. We're going to have to work collectively here, FGM, village staff, and the village board to keep on schedule. Obviously, if we don't start construction next year in the fall and we push that into the spring or summer, that will impact costs for the project.
Thank you for that. Administrator's update?
The budget process, village staff has started the budget process. As you know, that commences here in the winter, and we carry that through in the spring. At a couple of public meetings that I wanted to update the public on. January 18th, 2020, Saturday at 9 a.m., we will be having a budget workshop meeting. We also have a special budget workshop meeting on March 14th. That's also a Saturday at 9 a.m. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Chief Finland?
Tomorrow we'll be participating at McDonald's for Coffee with a Cop at 9:30. And previously on Thursday, we handed out ice cream cones to anyone that showed up at the McDonald's as well. So just to let you know, we had a community relation event both last Thursday and it'll be tomorrow.
Thank you. Director Morimoto, nothing? Director Simmons, you got off the hook today.
We'll talk to them at the committee.
Yeah. Thank you. Any future agenda items and discussion by the village board?
Just wanted to wish Jeff Kraus a happy belated birthday.
Last week.
Yeah,
Thank
happy
you.
belated.
Yeah, I do have some, I'd like to put on the agenda in the future, a discussion in regards to a sales tax referendum, similar to what Fox River Grove put on the referendum a couple of years ago. I have some concerns about the buildings that we currently own, the history of this building, what's going to happen to this when we have the new building built. I'd like to possibly have that put on the as a referendum to raise funds. It would raise between $250,000 to $300,000 to shore up the buildings that we currently own. I just fear moving forward, you can tell people till you're blue in the face, we don't have any plans to tear down this building. But if we don't have it, we don't own it, we don't control it, we don't have any control over it. So I'd like to move forward and try to find a way to raise some revenue to preserve the buildings that we currently own as a village.
Are you talking like a non-home rule sales tax?
The same way that Fox River Grove did it a couple of years ago, and it lost by like 2 votes.
Okay, I'll look into that.
Okay.
We can, as a part of our budget meetings through the CIP, we can talk about, we'll obviously talk about our buildings and some of the work that needs to occur at our buildings, but also we can get into some financing options or funding sources. I know it's distasteful for the board, but we can talk about taxes, this non-home rule sales tax or other taxes, so we could make it a part of that discussion too.
Yeah, timing is perfect to discuss these things. Jake, you'll follow up on that?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I assume the majority of the board's in support of exploring that.
Sure, definitely.
Absolutely.
Any other discussion items? Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are no nays. Hold on just a minute, Kim. Are you going to stick with us for the committee?
Yeah.
Okay.